How did the lift go today? I know you told me a little bit about like all the crazy benching you did, but
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I mean, I'm not like on a strict program right now, kind of just chasing the pump.
Yeah.
But it's still nice to toss around at least 225, you know.
yeah,
Nothing to write home about, like I was saying earlier, but yeah,
yeah,
it feels good.
that's cool, man. I mean, it's been awesome seeing you back in here. I mean, you were a part of the start of this gym, and it's funny because the gym has been around long enough now where there's been several generations of people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because sometimes the older people will come in and they're like, who the hell is that person?
Yeah.
Who are all these people,
Yeah.
And then it'll happen in reverse too.
Yeah.
And all these people that I'm really tight with, from the last several years or half a decade or whatever, they'll see like you or Gene or Adam or, even like Jeremy
Yeah.
come in, and they could just tell the way that we kind of, talk to each other. And there's just like a vibe there that's
Yeah.
deeper than like, a couple of years there.
Yeah.
And also have gone through experiences together, like positive or negative,
Oh, yeah.
So like there's a lot of history there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually kind of interesting just to see the different generations of people like trying to figure out who everyone is.
Yeah, for sure. The lore, catching up with the Rockwell
Yeah, for sure.
Of which there is much.
Yeah. Every time I see Jeremy, he's always trying to go back through all of it, and I'm always just trying to curb it as much as possible.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Depending on who's around or just depending
Yeah.
on my own PTSD.
Yeah.
But no, it's been awesome seeing you back in Chicago. Lifting and
Thanks, man.
all the stuff that you've always been doing. Just seeing you go hard again after so many years of putting everything into all the different activities that you've been into.
Yeah,
You're
man.
still doing it. You haven't backed off. You haven't been like, oh, I have this crazy job. I can't do
Yeah.
it anymore. I have a dog to keep care of. Like,
Yeah.
you're just making it happen just like I am, and it's inspiring to see it. And
Fuck yeah, dude. Glad to be here.
yeah, dude. And so like, after the first several years in the gym, you got an opportunity to move to Vegas, and you moved out there, and that was a really interesting thing to see because you and I always stayed in touch in one way or the other, and I feel like that was a really cool way for you to just kind of figure life out in a different way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you went out there, and you were already into jiu-jitsu here. That kind of started in Chicago.
Yeah.
Sort of at the same time as lifting.
Yeah.
But I think when you went out to Vegas, you kind of leaned into jiu-jitsu pretty hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you were at Simgo, right, out there?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was really cool to see. My biggest like recollection of what you're doing in Vegas was all the running.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because just I would talk to you every couple of weeks or check in like every other month whenever we had time to talk to each other, and just like
Yeah.
the mileage and the hours you were putting in, and then
Yeah.
sometimes you would call me after some of those runs.
Yeah.
And I would get off the phone and have no idea what we talked about, just because you were on such another level of thinking.
Yeah.
Just like when I hit you up yesterday.
Yeah. Definitely on a different planet.
Yeah. Remember when I hit you up yesterday, I was like, dude, I just had a flashback of half my life during
Yeah,
my
right.
accessories. I was not kidding or exaggerating or
Yeah.
being weird at all. I just
Yeah.
really just went that far in my training. And
Yeah, it definitely happens.
it's cool to see. And so talk to me about how you got into that kind of running, because a lot of people like even me recently, I started doing some like really light like run walks on the treadmill. Like
Yeah.
it's like a joke. Like
Yeah.
but I just don't want to forget how to run, and I don't want to be bad at running, so that's why I did it.
Yeah.
But most people when they run, they go out here a couple miles on the street, maybe they'll do a marathon, maybe they'll over time increase their mileage. But
Yeah.
I feel like when you got into running, you like went totally like on the far end of that spectrum.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? Like, how did you start running, and then how did you get into the point where you started doing ultras? Because that's, not a lot of people do those,
Yeah.
I think I only know 2 or 3 people in my whole lifetime that have had to do ultras.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it really just started with me wanting to do more cardio. I mean, given my background, the standard was always 2 miles, and I think like 16 minutes on the tail end. That's like the slowest you could run 2 miles. And I was definitely not in any kind of running shape, so I thought, well, let me just unfuck this, and get my cardio back, get back into running shape. So it started with that, and then I remember seeing an interview with Cam Hanes, and he was talking about ultras and, just how he would put in like 20 miles like a session, and I thought like, holy shit, I didn't know people fucking did that.
Yeah.
And here's this guy, he's like in his 40s, and this is just something he does on the side. He's done it pretty competitively.
Yeah.
And he's done a bunch of ultras to my knowledge, but he's mainly a hunter. And that just really intrigued me, really caught my attention. And so I thought, well, why not give it a shot? Start small, just build my way up from 2 miles. Like, I literally started, I think this was around probably right before the shutdown, the pandemic around 2020.
Yep.
And I just started with 20 miles out in Vegas, just going out to Red Rock National Park, and just worked my way up from there. Got to 5 miles, was comfortable with that at a good pace. And then I started looking up ultras and just started thinking about what it would take to be in shape for one of those.
Yeah.
Started off with a 33K. That was, I think it was the Bootleggers, of like an hour outside of Vegas.
Yeah.
So 33K, probably about 30-ish miles or something. Yeah. And what was cool was I had never done a marathon before that.
Yeah.
The longest distance I'd ever run was about 13 miles.
Yeah.
So I just ran my ass off. Didn't really make it too complicated. Just get the fucking miles in. Make sure your feet are good condition. Your legs feel good, and just do the damn thing.
Yeah. Oh, so it's pretty awesome, man. And I always have enjoyed the idea of not being like a one-trick pony.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
You know how it is for a lot of the people that surround us, for better or worse, but just it's very like pushed to just do one thing. Mm-hmm. Like everyone's heard it from fellow lifters, training partners, random people, haters, like whatever, like And I'm not even saying it's a negative thing. It's just a general comment that a mindset that people have. I understand why they have it, because sometimes there are detriments of doing too many things at once. But I think we've never really been like, oh, I can't do that because I do this. And I've always really appreciated the fact that we can dabble in anything, we can excel in anything, and still come back to the other things that we love, and still have a good hand in it and still do respectable things in that department too.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, it's like building a resume. I don't want to pass away as an old man and be like, well, I lifted. And that's fine for some people, but I want to be like, man, I did jiu-jitsu and I lifted, and I took this risk and I took that risk.
Absolutely.
Maybe I was really bad at that one thing, but I did it. And I didn't have any wonders about it.
I'm not trying to leave anything on the table. It's the whole idea of like the rocking chair test, like one day, it could be fucking next week, tomorrow's not promised, but down the road when we're fucking 80 years old and, it's just fucking on the rocking chair, it's like, what are we going to be thinking about? All the shit we didn't fucking do that we knew we wanted to,
dude.
We talked ourselves out of, and that ain't going to be fucking us. You know?
No, exactly. I just want to be thinking about my grandkids and taking a sweet car out on Sunday. That's it, man.
And anybody really should be putting their hat in the ring, in my opinion. You don't have to be like, you don't have to have any particular background.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the cool things about all the different domains these days. And, there's pros and cons, to having a super high influx of people getting into different things. But generally speaking, I think it's good,
No, yeah.
People get the opportunity to just build themselves up in different ways, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, people will always come back to things for the most part. You gotta give people space to do stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I even learned that with clients or friends that I have in the gym. It's like, just be excited for them for what they're doing.
Yeah,
you don't have to try to put people in a headlock and drag them. You know what I mean? Into what it is that you think they should be doing or whatever. It's just a bad way of thinking. And so you also moved out to Vegas for some professional stuff in life too, right?
Yeah.
So did you get your education in that here, or did you go out there for that? I can't remember. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
But I know that transition happened sometime between you living here and moving to Vegas, and then that was when you got into what you're doing now. Yeah.
So I went to DePaul. Moved back here. Moved back here in 2015, right after Adam. Yep. Adam got out in November of 2014.
Yep.
And I came back here, went to DePaul, graduated in like 3 years. And then, I was off to Vegas in like 2018 of August.
Yeah.
August of 2018. I couldn't find a job out here, surprisingly, with my degree. I went to school for cybersecurity, and I got a minor in computer science. Great program, used the GI Bill there, great faculty and professors and so on. Yeah. After I graduated, I moved out to Vegas because I couldn't get a job out here. Found a company that had come to DePaul at some point to recruit, and
Yeah, it's crazy because while we were lifting and doing, and essentially like getting this place up on its feet. Like you were going to school, and also like getting out of the Army, which is a whole other task, I imagine, just from being your friend forever. Like I know that was some shit that you had to deal with on top of lifting, on top of school. What's crazy about it is that you handled it in a way that, like, I feel like a lot of us didn't even realize you were going to school. Silly enough. I mean, probably just because we're all caught up in our own stuff, but you didn't really let it slow you down in any regards. You know what I mean? Like, you were still lifting as hard, you were still doing jiu-jitsu as hard.
Fuck yeah, man.
And working here too. So that's pretty incredible. So when you got out to Vegas, that's when you started working in that field. And that was actually a large reason why we wanted to do this today, is just because I feel like there's a lot of takeaways for me and then other just like average people to understand kind of what's going on in the world of technology and their security, or like their business's security. And I just think it's really interesting, what you're doing day to day. So talk to me a little bit about like what you learned going from studying in school to actually being in the field of that. Because I know when I was in college, I learned all of these great things. When I got out in the real world and I had to apply that to work, like I had an entirely separate degree from real life experience. And so like what was the the change like from what you were studying to actually being in it and sort of protecting assets? I don't know how you
absolutely.
I imagine you're also looking to do a lot of preventative future work. You don't always want to just put out fires, I imagine.
Exactly.
It's kind of like how we train people here. We're always looking for preventative and not just strength, on its own. So how was that transition? Like what did you kind of see going into the actual work side of it?
It was an interesting path. I had no fucking idea what cybersecurity entailed when I got into school.
What made you want to get into that, by the way?
So when I was deployed, I had heard about the Natanz power plant cybersecurity attack or hack, whatever you want to call it. The short of it was that it was a joint operation. People speculate between the CIA and the Mossad. And basically they had created a piece of malware, a virus, a computer virus, that they then got onto this power plant's network in Iran, and it wiped out all of their centrifuges. So it basically like killed their uranium enrichment program that they had going. And I heard about that and I thought, holy shit, that is insane. Like you have this air-gapped network that's like halfway around the world, and somehow these fucking guys figured out a way to write a computer virus that had multiple 0 days, mind you, which means they exploited these vulnerabilities that were like unbeknownst to anybody in the world, including Microsoft. So they had these 0 days, like they used them in this virus, and they used it to basically just brick the whole system. And I saw that and I thought, holy shit, that's insane. I want to know as much as I can about that and go down that path because it's cool as fuck,
Yeah, that's really exciting to hear about. Like my mind is just kind of blown because you think like if you're going to damage a nuclear plant, like someone's going to go in physically, or like the military is going to destroy it, or there's all these other like forceful ways to square that away.
Right. You just blow the fucker up with a fucking missile, right? And we do that too.
That's true. We don't really shy away from that kind of shit. Right now we're blowing up cocaine boats in the Caribbean.
But if you can use a scalpel, it's probably preferred.
Oh, that's interesting. So, man, I would have not guessed that that's what made you want to study that. I got into journalism because I was bad at math. It was just, I mean, I could
fork
probably,
in the road.
I could probably deal with math now, but And then it was just easier to pick a pen up and just start writing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
no, so that's interesting. So that's what made you seek out that study and that kind of like that education.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when you got hired, like, did you see a lot of similarities like that on smaller scales or even bigger scales? Like, did you end up finding that, like, obviously that's a pretty fantastic story.
Yeah.
But did you, or are you still seeing a lot of things like that where people are, they're trying to accomplish like their certain end goals?
Yeah, of course.
Regardless of what kind of damage or who they're hurting to get things accomplished, right?
Well, absolutely. I will say there's ongoing offensive operations like 24/7. That shit never stops.
Yeah.
And it could be anyone from like a script kiddie, as we call them, or as they're referred to, just literally like a 13-year-old kid in his mom's basement. It's like the cliche, but it's so true. It could be just a kid who just has a lot of time and unfettered access to the internet to just learn shit. And anybody can do it, It's, you don't need a degree to do this shit. You just need time and patience.
Yeah.
Because all the information's out there. So it could be somebody running operations like on that scale.
Yeah.
Or it could be an advanced persistent threat, aka a nation state actor.
Yeah.
So, like some sort of group from DPRK or China or anywhere around the world, Russia.
Yeah.
It could be CIA. Like there's all sorts of entities and different sorts of groups that have interests in conducting these sort of hacking operations or offensive cyber operations. So that's going on all the time.
Yeah.
But that's the sexy stuff. Nobody just like graduates DePaul and like, gets into that shit.
Yeah.
So I had read about that. I thought, all right, fuck yeah, let me go down that path. Started looking at my options at DePaul. Was originally going to pursue computer science, but then I found out about the cyber program. I thought I'm going to go that route. And really what the curriculum entailed was just fundamental computer knowledge, foundational things, concepts that I would have to have a real good grasp on before I can understand the cyber stuff. Because really when it comes to computers, it's all about context. A lot of these things are very abstract, and it's not like you can just kind of like look at it and like take it apart. You can, but it's all, numbers on the binary level. It's zeros and ones. It's like computer components. It's all inside the machine, right? Operating systems. There's like a whole spectrum of things you have to get exposed to before you can dig further into the more complicated stuff. So, you're doing basic things like learning how to configure routers, like networking concepts are huge, how traffic is going between computers, be it locally, if you have a local network set up here, like in an office space, or if you have, an enterprise level,
like a company, different locations.
Yes, exactly. At a larger scale. So learning how to do things like that, learning how to program, of course, had some programming exposure with Python and C, but basic stuff. And then of course learning concepts like offensive and defensive operations. You got to know how can you compromise a computer, how does malware work, how does all that stuff work.
You also sort of playing the bad guy to a degree, trying to go in and foolproof your hardware or your software, and just anything, right? See where your doors are at. And
so that was basically the curriculum there. And once I graduated, I got a job as a security operations analyst, SOC analyst. And that's a very entry-level gig. It's very common for a lot of cyber graduates.
That was in Vegas?
Yes, that was in Vegas. I was at a large managed services provider, which is basically a company that provides cybersecurity services to various organizations.
I see.
Great company. They gave me an opportunity when nobody else would. Super, great place to get my start and cut my teeth.
And I remember too that pretty much right off the bat, within that first year or two, they were pretty excited about you and vice versa. I remember just every time I talked to you, you would have a new set of responsibilities or you would just kind of I think they noticed that you were able to take on quite a bit of work and you were reliable. And very interested, I feel like it would be such a important person to have on the team who's excited about this stuff. You know, who's not just doing it just because they like need to pay the bills and make shit work. You know, it's like that's hard to find.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you have to have a passion for it because the nature of the game, anybody that watches the news knows there's breaches, there's hacks that are happening every single day. So you have to keep up with all the vulnerabilities that are getting published and all the technology. But I have to give credit where credit's due. It wasn't like I came in with all the knowledge and skills to be able to do the job.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of great leadership at that first company.
It seemed like
trained me up and took a chance on me and a great crew too, like my peers at the time, all the new SOC analysts, great crew, really bright people, super smart crew that I was working with, very intelligent, and so that's how I learned the ropes.
Yeah. So what kind of things did you learn that were specific to like the financial sector, like stocks, or you know, like did you notice any trends in that area of sort of like security, as opposed to like something that would be like a governmental agency, or you know what I mean, like, or just like, you know, like my business is pretty basic, right? We just have internet, like, you know, our internet connects to other things that are important, like a bank account or Shopify or things like that are important to us. But obviously when it comes to financial world and stocks, I mean, the risks and you know, you could lose so much more than just a business, you know, that doesn't want to get their stuff hacked. You know, I call Chase, I get my money back in like 24, 48 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and so what kind of things did you learn, or like how did you have to adapt your thinking or like your mindset about what you learned in school to like assimilate into what was required of you, you know, working for those companies that you're protecting?
Yeah, for sure. So the academic side, that's really just gaining the prerequisite knowledge, like I said. And once I got into that first job, that was really where the rubber met the road for the first time. That was like the practical application.
Yeah.
And it was just, dude, it was like getting fed through a fire hose. It was so overwhelming.
I was going to say, did it freak you out a little bit?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, like extremely high stakes. And the book of customers that we had at that first company was like insane. It was like Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies, like massive organizations that paid us to make sure their shit was squared away.
Yeah.
And we had all the tools and the right people to do the job, but I was new, so to me, I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, like, do I push the button? I don't know. It's like, do I know what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
But then it just comes down to the training. So fortunately, over time, you get a little more comfortable. But to answer your question, I had no awareness of the differences between the sectors and how that played into cyber strategy, you know, as far as like defense goes, or I really didn't understand any of that. The only thing I was focused on for the first few years was learning the tool set that, you know, all these companies had deployed within their environments to keep them secure, and just tying all the concepts that I had learned about in school to the things I was doing every single day.
I see what you're saying.
As well as learning all the other shit that the curriculum didn't have time for, because you can't, I mean, 3-4 years, there's so much shit out there. Like I said, it never ends.
Yeah, it's like there's, you know, you're going to learn certain things in one half a decade, and another group of things in another half a decade, and you just can't speed it up, you can't force it. I mean, you can try, of course. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but just like, you know that thing we always said, like, time on the mat, whether it's that mat or this mat we're sitting on, it's the same thing. You just like, there's just intuition, you know, like we have a new trainer who just started, and we were talking about programming the other day, and I was just giving her like programming things to think about, you know, like intelligent ways to write a program, and just like all the things that you need to have in there, you know, from the little things to the big things. And I've actually been coaching her for 1.5 years. So I said, the things that I do for you in your program, don't forget that. Yeah. Because you're looking at someone that does a lot of things off intuition and gut and feel. Because that's just kind of where I've taken myself. Yeah. You know? But you need to start off with just like the basics, because you can trust that. Yeah. But if you just try to wing it, and go off what I've done for you,
Yeah.
it's not going to work out because the base isn't there. You know, like those like 4 or 5 layers of making mistakes or having successes just are not there anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure that now that you've sort of gotten your second degree by being in this field for a while, I feel like your perception on what you do for work is like totally changed, right? I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it's night and day.
Right.
It's pretty funny to think about, but yeah, it's definitely changed
You
over
don't
the
even
years.
realize that you think about it that way either. You know, when
No.
you go into work, you know, on Monday or whatever, you're
Yeah.
not like thinking back to college in your first couple of years. You just go in and just do it because
Yeah.
you know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
And the other thing too, that it's kind of an ongoing joke. Whenever we talk on the phone, you're usually studying or getting ready to study, or
Oh,
you just
yeah.
finished studying.
Oh yeah.
And what I've come to learn is that you're pretty much studying constantly and trying to work on sort of like the next level, the next, you know, area of expertise that you need to get into, and it seems never ending.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of times it seems like it's almost like self-elected on your end, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I can't remember the way you put it the last time we talked about it, but you essentially are like, I need to know this, I'm going to need to know this, or this is where I want to get in the future.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting to me that you're constantly studying as if you have a test,
Yeah,
or as
yeah.
if you're like doing your master's.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Like no professor's present, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure your boss like loves to see you, you know, advance and get more information, but
Yeah.
it seems like they're not like, you know, tightening the screws on you, and
Yeah.
you just continue to do it anyway. So what makes you want to do that? I mean, just besides improving yourself at your job, but what makes you sit down and just study for 3 hours and you don't have to, and then do it again the next day and the next day? You know, that to me is pretty rare. You know, I don't think a lot of people are doing that. You know.
Yeah, it's a few things. One, it's the action, the thrill. I mean, I fucking love sitting down and just staring at code, like throwing on some
That's so
music
fucked up,
and just like, yeah, for a lot of people it sounds like torture, but dude,
sounds
I
terrible.
could seriously like do that for hours, and I do. I have to study the things that I'm studying, and I'm not the only one. Like, I'm not special. There's
Yeah.
thousands of people out there doing research and like offensive stuff, very advanced stuff. You know, I'm
Totally.
just getting started, so I want to say that first. But fuck yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fucking getting in there. I really started getting heavy with it probably a few years ago when I moved back to Illinois.
That's when it seemed like it started, I thought.
Yes.
You got back here and you got settled into a different groove, in
Yes.
a different state of mind, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure, man.
you've had like a certain calmness, you know, like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like you'd open up some windows
Oh, for sure, dude.
psychologically that allows you to just like kind of dive in deeper on the things that you want to do, you know.
Hell yeah,
Like,
man. Yeah. A lot of that stuff was deliberate.
Yeah, it seemed
Lots
like
of
really planned to me.
Vision questing in Vegas, let's call it.
Hell yeah, dude.
That might be something for another episode, but the company I work for now, they take such good care of us. They pay so much money for us to have access to training platforms, to go to these like high speed courses,
Yeah.
be it live or like on demand. So
Yeah.
they are just giving us everything we need to
Yeah.
succeed and to make sure that we're squared away
Yeah.
from a cyber perspective. And so that's obviously a huge motivator, but I would be studying this stuff anyway because I see,
Yeah.
you know, 5 years down the road where I want to end up, and I'm trying to reverse engineer how to get there.
Yep.
Because there's so many things you can do in cyber. I happen to be doing this thing right now,
Yeah.
you know, working as an analyst and an engineer, but
Yeah.
down the road, I'd like to be doing other stuff. So I'm trying to prepare myself
I
for
see what
that.
you're saying, yeah. Like,
But also making myself more of an asset on the team that I'm on right now.
Yep.
The more we understand, the more we learn, the better we can use our tools. We can develop
Yep.
new detections. We can collaborate with other teams.
Yep.
We can ask better questions of other teams. It really just adds more value.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's the goal.
it's fun, you know.
And
Like you're
fuck
not
yeah,
you're not
like I
going
said,
in every
yeah,
day
dude.
just kind of like doing the same thing,
No,
having
oh,
the
dude,
same
no
tools
way.
from the previous
No
day.
way,
I mean,
yeah.
I imagine that wouldn't even be really an option.
No, yeah,
your-
you can't. They're really
your line of
that's
work.
not possible at all. You have to have your hands in all sorts of things at all times.
Yep. It's just like here at the gym. Like if I trained everyone the way I trained people 4 years ago, or if
Right.
I trained even one client the way I trained them 5 months ago,
Yeah.
I would probably train like 2 people.
Yeah.
Literally. either because someone would be hurt or discouraged, or I'm not evolving my training with their life, demands. Like they just had kids, or they want to get into a different sport. I have a guy that lifts, and now he just got into hockey.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't doing hockey before.
Yeah.
So things have to be adjusted.
Yeah.
Whether it's weight loads, intensities, or whatever. So you have to be willing to just kind of roll with it, and then also get smarter too, not just change randomly.
Yes.
And you mentioned that when you sit down to code for hours, or study code, or get into some of these materials or the tools they're providing for you, that you'll blast some music and shit.
You got to.
So what kind of music when you're studying, or what are some of your favorite bands to get down to when you're trying to just dive into the computer or a book or whatever for a couple hours? What are some of your go-tos?
Dude, Pig Destroyer put out Natasha, I think, in the early 2000s, and it's just ambient noise rock, and it's 40 minutes, but I fucking love it. It's perfect. Because if it's something, not all the music we listen to is going to be appropriate, because I'll just get sucked into it and I'll lose focus, and I'll start fucking, and then I'm moshing and I forget what the fuck I'm doing. So it's got to be more ambient oriented. Sometimes I'll throw on the Nutcracker, why not? It's just in the background.
The movie soundtrack?
Tchaikovsky.
I see. I got you. Okay, I got you.
So classical stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, lots of random ambient stuff. I poke around a lot on Spotify just to see what they'll throw at me.
Yep.
Sometimes
Same.
I'll listen to I have this track saved on YouTube. It's Tibetan monk chanting from
sick.
The 80s. Yeah, it really just hits me in a way that I'm just I'm locked in immediately.
Yeah, there was a long time ago that I had this weird playlist and saved somewhere. I was listening to it, and it was not dorks pretending to be Vikings in metal, that's a big
not
thing.
Not LARPing, yeah.
It's not, it's not professional LARPing. It's it was these weirdo people that their music's not popular, and it's just kind of it's sort of on a tribal level, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's these people that just try to replicate Viking sounds and musical instruments and that shit from way back in the day.
Yeah.
And I don't think that most people will be able to listen to it for longer than a minute. But for some reason, I'll just put it on kind of low volume, and I can just do whatever to it forever. I just kind of forget about it, but it's also in the back of my head.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So the monk stuff kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of what's that movie with Christian Bale, and he listens to Mastodon when he's doing. He's a financial analyst, and he's trying to tell everyone that the financial crash is about to happen. And it's The Big Short. That's what it is.
Oh, is he in that?
Maybe it's not Christian Bale.
I was gonna say American Psycho, but I don't remember him listening to Mastodon in that.
But yeah, he's basically just doing all of his financial studies and just all of his computer work to Mastodon.
Oh, you're right.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. He was in that movie. Yeah, he's got the glass eye. He played Michael Burry.
That's who it is.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's been
I forgot about that.
12 years since I've seen that movie, but
he's always rocking out. Yeah.
You're I just fucking listening to code, dude. Or listening to music, studying code.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about your military experience.
Yeah.
We can brush over as much as you want to talk about it, or as little whatever. But what did you think kind of going into the Army? What did you think? What did you think was going to be like? You know, from just sort of the entry level to coming out of it. What was sort of the several big takeaways, or even the middle of it too. It's up to you. It's your choice. But, But what were some of your experiences in there? Because someone like me, I don't have that experience. Many people don't. We take it for granted. Oh, those guys are just over there doing stuff and taking care of business, and then that's really all we kind of get out of it. And it's funny because you and I have been friends for so long. Yeah. And never really talked about any of that stuff, right? And probably just because it's more I give a shit about you. I don't really care about that. And I don't need to hear, I'm not dude, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets, that's just kind of fucked up. But since we're talking about, what you're doing now for work, and we've talked about, lifting and jiu-jitsu and ultras, I mean, obviously that has had an effect on your life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So kind of what are some of the experiences you had going in the middle of it and coming out, and like what were some of the things that you learned from it, like, you know, good or bad or the other?
Yeah, for sure. Going in, I really had no understanding of what it would be like other than what I was told. My uncle he served in Vietnam. He was in the Army as well. Mm-hmm. Airborne, the whole nine.
Yeah.
So I grew up really idolizing him and looking up to him. To me, that was like the epitome of like manhood and just, you know, fucking making it.
Was he just like a super concrete dude? Like what were the things that you like looked up to him about, like attribute wise?
Yeah, just the way he carried himself. You see a lot of those old timers, like they got their jackets, you know, it'll have like their name and whatever unit they served with on the back. Yeah. That's very much like Vietnam and previous era thing. You don't really see modern guys doing that.
Totally.
But I just remember the way he carried himself, the way people spoke to him, and just his presence, really.
Yeah. It's like an unspoken thing.
Yeah, it was kind of like as a kid, you don't really understand why any of that is.
Yeah.
But you just think it's cool as fuck, and hey, maybe one day I can do something like that.
I'm going through like 5 people in my head right now where I'm like, when I was a kid, I looked up to you.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There was just something about you that made me gravitate towards paying attention to your personality traits. You know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, what kid doesn't grow up like, you know, playing soldiers or whatever, you know, shooting each other with fucking Nerf guns and whatever, or BB guns.
Exactly.
So yeah, once, you know, I tried to do the college thing after high school, but I always knew deep down, like, this ain't it, man. This is not what you really want to be doing.
Yeah.
And so I said, fuck it. I had a lot of buddies that were, you know, already deployed. It was on the news all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to do my part while I can right now. I have the opportunity. I'm a young guy. I want to serve my country, etc. So I enlisted and decided to just do the damn thing. And I learned very quickly what the fuck it was all about. You know, like anybody else that joins the military, it's gonna hit pretty hard, like huge reality check.
Yeah.
You know, like especially when you're going to basic and your drill sergeants are like, hey, some of you motherfuckers, you guys aren't going to be around in the next few years. Like, wake the fuck up to the reality of what this is. This isn't just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, basic training, cool, get yelled at. Like, no, you're training to do a very specific job. You guys are all fucking getting deployed and so on. And yeah, once you get there, it's like, all right.
It's pretty dark. It's probably a big reality check, you know. But
for
it's what
sure.
you probably need to hear too, you know what I mean?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
You'd be doing you a disservice to be like, I'm just here working out, you know, like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not playtime is fucking over. You know, like I had such great drill sergeants. I won't name them, but these were like battle-hardened fucking dudes. One of them had a glass eye. Like, these dudes had seen some shit.
Yeah.
And they broke us the fuck off. That's the whole idea, you know, break you off so they could build you up. But that started on day one.
Yeah.
Once you get through that first phase, I think they call it red phase, for infantry training. I was in the infantry, 11 Bravo, whatever. Once that phase is over, where they're just always screaming at you, you're getting fucking smoked constantly, yelled at, then they start showing you the ropes, how to be a fucking soldier, you know. Yeah. So that was where I got started with really understanding what it was all about. And from then on, it just, you know, you build on that as you continue on in your training and you go to your units, you get deployed, do the damn thing. But really, just to sum up, I mean, there's fucking millions of fucking vets out there telling their stories. I'm not here to do that.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
to summarize,
Yeah.
Basic training, 11 Bravo, just basic grunt stuff.
Yeah.
Got lucky, got to go to airborne school, so I, you know, got my airborne training done. Ended up doing 5 jumps there, and then I got to do some more jumps after that.
That's awesome.
Which was cool, yeah. But I ultimately ended up at the 2nd Infantry Division in Washington State. That's where I got out of the Army.
Yep.
And I deployed with those guys, 117. Great crew.
Yeah.
The best mentors and leaders like I could have ever hoped for.
Yeah.
Being green as shit, like showing up to a unit, like, I think I was a specialist, but still basically a fucking private.
Yeah.
Like no combat patch, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
These guys, however, like a lot of these dudes, their previous deployments, they had gotten fucked up. Like lots of dudes got killed, lost a lot of great men on those previous deployments. So really no better men to learn from.
Yeah.
And, train up with for our deployment.
Yeah.
So I got to train up with these guys, and we went to Afghanistan for 9 months. Just did one tour. That was my bit, and good time. It was the best and worst of times, but it was a fucking honor and a privilege. I signed up to do a job, and I'm grateful I got to do that job.
Yeah, and I'm sure that had a huge effect on you for, other tasks in your life, like start it, finish
Fuck yeah, dude.
see it
absolutely.
through or continue it, and there's really...
Violence of action,
yeah,
having a plan, staying calm under pressure, like those are all huge fucking lessons that I learned at different times. Multiple times, I should say.
Yeah.
You learn those things over and over again.
Yeah.
The beatings will continue until morale improves,
Yeah, and I'm sure being around those guys that have been through just, like they had the experience prior to you having that experience was probably such a clutch thing,
fuck yeah. Yeah.
Because they're setting expectations for you and letting you know, like, dude, this is what you're actually going to have to do. And, I'm sure that was, like, so helpful to have.
For sure.
Probably gave you some wisdom that you might not have had otherwise.
Oh, fuck yeah. Absolutely.
Ahead of time.
And confidence getting deployed. I mean, a lot of dudes, especially like Vietnam, even the current conflicts, not everybody that goes over there has the opportunity to deploy with somebody that's very experienced. It could be a newly minted squad leader, or platoon sergeant, or even a platoon leader. Like officers, a lot of them go over there and they have no combat experience. So nothing against any of those people.
Sure, yeah, it's just a reality.
It's just a reality, And I was lucky to have, like you said, guys that had been through the shit, so they could square me away.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny to think about because you mentioned when you were in Washington State, and then that's when you got out and ended up here because of Adam, and then we ended up around each other.
Yeah, fucking A.
And it makes me laugh pretty hard because I think back to that time, and I don't know how you felt about it at that time, but I think back around then, I didn't think I had a lot of stuff figured out. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm on all of it. But I thought I had a decent amount of stuff figured out, and largely about myself, like my personality. I was like, I know who I am, and I know what I'm about, and man, I was so far off, dude. Like,
fuck yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
and
dude.
It was funny because I feel like all of us individually, like that, first whatever, like however you want to look at it, whether it's the first like 5 of us, guys, or whether it's a group of 10 or 12 that were at that first spot, I feel like we all kind of succumbed to that mistake of being like, yeah, we know what's going on, and so it was really interesting now that we've known each other this long to look back at that time, because I viewed you as like, well, Dan's got out of the military, he's on his shit, he knows exactly what he's doing, he's got himself figured out. Me too. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I'm living here, I'm doing this career, I'm working hard, I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to start a business, like I got this shit.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of funny, like to see, all the work that we all had to individually do to really get to that point. And not that we've like arrived now, but
definitely
now like we've actually gotten some stuff figured out. Life's a little bit easier, like, there's less conflicts, like internally or with other people. And it's really nice to actually like be doing that thing rather than just thinking that thing, and so like when you got out, what was your transition like into the gym and like going to school and working, like was that pretty challenging, or were you just like super stoked to be out and like be doing your own thing, like
Honestly, it was fucking ideal. I had this container that is Rockwell Barbell to just be a fucking maniac and act like a complete, like unrestricted jackass. Like it couldn't have turned out any better, and a lot of guys don't have the luxury of falling into a fucking crew like this, who, I wasn't the only maniac. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, cool, we're all fucking just nuts.
Yeah, totally. And the problem was that I think I fed off of that. So when I saw like you and Adam and then Gene just unnecessarily yelling at people
all the
like,
time,
whether they were doing good or bad, he would still be berating them.
Yeah.
Like I was like, dude, I can I'm not in anyone else's gym anymore. Like I can throw shit.
Right.
I can yell. I can go outside. Like we can threaten each other.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Or whatever. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, and I didn't realize that at that time was even happening in that way. I think we just got all caught up in it. So I didn't even realize that was like something that was happening that was out of the norm.
Yeah.
Or that was like a way for us to kind of vent or like deal with life. You know what I mean? I was just like, we're just fucking lifting too.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, I was like, Adam was dealing with shit. Dan was dealing with shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me, Gene, whoever, like we were just like kind of like, maybe dealing with our upbringings.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what it was, but it was just like everyone just came together and just like shit got real wild there for a while. But it was great, and I feel like it was like the best possible start.
Dude, fuck yeah, absolutely, man. Like I've told you before, like I rolled out of Washington State. I had already had the connect with you through Adam, so like I rolled right in, and Adam was, we were in contact. He's like, "Oh, dude, you're gonna love it." Like. I was super stoked to move back. Most guys, they get out, they don't have shit. They have no fucking idea where they're going to live, like what they're going to do. I get out, I move back home to Chicago, obviously the best city in the fucking world. Yeah, dude. Let's fucking be honest.
I'm not going to downplay that.
No, fuck no. It don't matter. Always and forever.
That's right.
But I roll out of Washington State and came here, met you guys. I get a fucking job making really good fucking money. You gave me a huge opportunity. That's probably the biggest stress for dudes that are getting out. Is like, how the fuck am I going to pay my bills? I'm going to school full time, which was cool, but I needed some income.
Yeah, you got to have something to operate off of. You can't just have nothing and just scrape by, or have some terrible job. That's not inspiring you to. You know what I mean? Do what you need to do.
Yeah, man. So I had that shit squared away, and like I said, thankfully Adam brought me into the fold, and the rest is history. Yeah. And obviously we're gonna struggle with like whatever lingering shit, let's call it, that's from whatever we experienced during our time in. But everybody goes through that, and I also think that's a human experience. One of the things I always like to remind people is like, we're not the arbiters of like pain and suffering and trauma, It's like, let's be real. Yeah. Every motherfucker out there is going through it. Everybody's got their shit. They got their story. Yep. And I'm ultimately grateful that I had an outlet like this, so that I could come thrash around and just really just be a fucking jackass. Like I said, just have fun and not worry about, oh, dude, you need to dial it back. If anything, we all just dialed it up, and we all fed off of that, like you said.
And still do in certain ways. Like we know when to do that, and we don't have to do that all the time, but it's still there, very much there. Like there's like numerous times, any time in the last 30 days, that Katie's just like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, do you really have to be like that? Like, or is that really the best choice? So it's good to have a little bit of a curve.
You don't understand. They touched the radio, Lawrence. This is fucking serious business. Yeah, that dude. Do not touch that fucking radio.
AC/DC when I'm doing like an RP 11 set of 10 or some shit. Like, that's. I'll apologize later, but you're gonna get it, man.
Yeah, you're gonna fucking hear it.
And then like 3 months later, I'm like, I can't believe that guy quit the gym. What's that guy's problem? Talk to me a little bit about some technology stuff for sort of like present in the future, because I feel like, just as like a random dumb gym guy, like I'm struggling to keep up with a lot of things that I need to know about as far as technology goes, or just advancements. Like it's always like funny because when we were younger, we're like, oh man, our parents are terrible with computers, and they're always like messing the computer up, and they just ask us to fix it, and then we're like, fine, I'll help you with it. But we don't realize that like when you turn 30 or you turn 40, like you start to become that person. And I've already seen it, and I've also noticed too with myself that there's even things that will come up that I try not to get into because I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah. I don't want to learn about it, or I think it's just not that important, And so what's funny is I was, Justin Moore, right? Yeah. I was talking to him about this just like briefly, and he was like, one of the biggest things today that, we try to push on people was like just a simple pass key. right? And I told Justin, I'm like, dude, anytime a passkey comes up, I just hit any button I can to make that thing go away on my phone or my computer, so that I can just move on to what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a great example of me sort of being like my parents or my predecessors that get like left behind on technology.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to actively change that, but what are some things that you think like everyday people need to know about technology or like security, you know, to like keep themselves safe or their businesses safe?
Yeah.
You know, like for me, this is just a small business, right?
Yeah.
It's not a huge corporation, and like, you know, it's not like a network of businesses that are all over the place, but I still need to protect myself to make sure that the gym's around down the road and we're doing okay and we don't have any obstacles that we don't want to deal with. So what are some things that you think like everyday people can try to focus on to make things simple for them to like just keep their shit safe and not have to like worry about getting money back that they can't afford to lose, you know? Because like some people don't have the luxury of being like, oh, I have a savings I can tap into. Some people just don't even have that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like they literally are going paycheck to paycheck, or they have like less than $1,000 in their account. So it's like that shit gets cleared out, dude. Like, you know, that's like dinner. You know, that's like someone's kid's schooling. You know what I mean? So I want to dive into that a little bit and just kind of talk about some of the stuff that's happening now, because we're at a different age of technology right now than we were even like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that I'd like to try to get better at, you know, learning and focusing on, you know.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a good way to go about navigating all that territory is just understanding what the attack surface is. So whether it be an individual, you protecting your own assets, your financial stuff, you know, your actual computer, your accounts, versus the attack surface as a business owner, or like, you know, you're running a large corporation. In either case, everybody is going to be a target for social engineering. The most common type of attack I think that's occurring right now is going to be phishing. So there's people out there that are just blasting millions of emails out every single day automatically from millions more burner accounts. They're going to Lawrence, they're going to me, they're going to Rockwell's email, they're going all over the place. Grandparents, like everybody's a target.
Yeah.
So it's understanding what a phishing email is and what the goal there is. So obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, that's why I'm explaining this, but for those that might not understand, the whole objective with a phishing email is to trick a target, trick the user into thinking that it's coming from their bank or it's coming from the utility provider. You know, it could be like an email that looks like it's from ComEd, and they're saying, hey, you got to click this link to reset your password. So the whole objective there is to get access to your account, hopefully get access to your bank account, steal some money, get other personal information from you so they could leverage that elsewhere. Because the thing is like, even if you don't click a link, if you call a number and you're talking to somebody that's not actually from that company, they might socially engineer you, which is just a fancy way of just like saying fast talk. They'll just fast talk you until you divulge things like your maiden name, if you know you're a woman, or like your child's middle name, or some random stuff like that they can then use to call a help desk, like an actual help desk. And they'll say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I need to reset my password, or I need to change this and that.
And see, we don't think about it from that perspective, right? So like, I've been on that end of those phone calls or emails. And what I'm thinking in that moment, whether it's, you know, stupid or not, is that I'm thinking that they're trying to take my shit right then and there. Like, you know, like I'm thinking I'm going to give them information and they're going to do away with me right there. Not realizing that they're acquiring information to then call later or email or get on a website later. You know, we're thinking like it's real time. You know?
Not always, Yeah,
I see what you're saying. And it's happened to me with ComEd and People's Gas. And I think a lot of it is probably timing too, because like you were saying, if they send those emails, or let's say they call 100 people or whatever, right? They're going to catch several people that are stressed out, or that are in the middle of work, or they're in traffic, and it's a timing problem. So the first time it happened to me, I think it was ComEd, and it was essentially like, we're shutting your power off today. And everything for me is on auto pay, but occasionally like I'll have a debit card that gets hacked and I'll get a new one, right? And then you don't update it in time, or you did, but now you're not on auto pay anymore. It's so easy to like miss a payment, right? Mm-hmm. And so essentially what they were trying to get me to do is they were like, all right, we want you to go ahead and head down to this pay station and pay it ASAP, because like I think they were saying like the website didn't work, or there was some way that I couldn't do it over the phone or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I looked up the address that they gave me for the pay station, and it was at a gas station.
Yeah.
So either if I would have drove to the gas station, either someone would try to rob me, or they had an ATM set up. They were trying to get me to use the ATM or something with my card, so they had the ATM set up to read something. I don't know what the end goal was there.
Yeah.
But me going to that location wasn't good either way.
Yeah.
Right? Or I defend myself and assault someone or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But that was
Quick
a
draw.
yeah, fucking yeah.
Two center mass.
Yeah, dude. But that was a reality check for me, because I'm at work training a client. The music's loud, like I'm tired, You're not really thinking clearly. You're only thinking like, I can't have a gym full of people and the power just gets shut off.
Yes.
And then what am I going to do? Like explain like, oh, sorry to be on like tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I got had over the phone by some fucking random
Seriously.
person.
So yeah, so the timing I think is like a crazy part of that, because like it's just like a ratio, right? When they hit up enough people, they're going to find someone that's gullible or stressed or in a situation where they can't think clearly, and
they only got to be right once.
Yeah, that's true.
We can't miss once.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, with a well-resourced person, just somebody that has all the time in the world, access to the right information, they can be running phishing email operations like all day, just automated. So it doesn't take much. But it is important to understand how a phishing email works. And one of the easiest ways to identify a phishing email is just the format's going to be sketchy. The language is going to be off. There's going to be a lot of misspellings. It's going to look weird. Yep. It might have a sketchy attachment like a zip file or maybe a weird PDF file or an HTML attachment. It could be all sorts of things. And it might have a link or a phone number that looks weird. And in those cases, if you ever suspect that it is a phishing email, just delete it. Or if your email client has like a built-in phish reporting button, click that. But you definitely never want to interact with an email or engage with anything of the sort. And even if you don't know, you could always contact somebody like, hey, is this legit? Always get a second set of eyes on.
Well, and the interesting thing too is that if I remember right, a lot of those emails that the names are odd, like the sender.
Oh, for sure, yes, absolutely.
And
you want to check the domein.
Yeah, and it's either because they're trying to make the name seem kind of smart or intelligent, or like I don't know how to explain it.
Apple tech support.
yeah, exactly. Or like because they're maybe not in the United States.
Right.
The name that they're choosing that they think sounds like
professional.
American or professional or something like that. You know what I mean?
Way off. Yeah.
And that always like really like gives me a highlight where I'm like, yo, this is weird. Like I've like anytime I've ever talked to ComEd or Comcast, like I've never. You know
never encountered something like this. It sticks out.
Yeah, it's like sounds like a Russian villain name,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
which it actually may be.
Yeah.
But and so like as far as the AI section of this, like, have you noticed any effect with your particular work with AI? Like, has that any effect on you guys keeping up with things, or has it provided presented new challenges?
Oh yeah.
That you guys have had to deal with like over the last several years, because I feel like it's impossible for it not to, because it's affecting everything. I mean,
it really is. AI is an entire wormhole, but without getting too deep into it, it's definitely changed the threat landscape. So what I mean by that is just the different ways that attacks are occurring. There's different tools out there that can be leveraged to make the attacks more effective. You can use AI to craft an email, for example, that's specifically targeted to trick Lawrence into clicking a link. because it has all the right information. I scraped your social media, your LinkedIn, the Rockwell website.
Yeah.
And I crafted specifically to you, leveraging AI. So that's just one example of how the threat landscape has changed. But given what we're involved with and what we're tasked with, professionally, we have to stay abreast of all the AI tools and how to use those not only defensively, but how they're being used offensively.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the movie. I'll send it to you later, but there's a pretty famous movie, and there's a producer, and he was getting interviewed by a journalist about some other movies involved with this coming up.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where the interview stemmed from. And but the thing that stuck out to me is that the interviewer had asked him, "Do you ever wish that you had AI for some of the previous movies you did?" And especially this one like pinnacle movie that I'm blanking on, but to help you, if let's say you figured out like scene 1 and you have scene 3, but like you don't know what to do with scene 2, and they were essentially like, do you wish you had AI back then so that you could plug in, a description of what your movie is trying to do to get an idea of what to do for scene 2? And he goes, I'd rather put a gun in my mouth.
Yeah, fucking A. That's a good answer. Yeah,
I thought
absolutely.
that was pretty awesome. They were kind of badgering him and trying to essentially trying to get him to give them the answer they were looking for, because how people just get dead set on the point they're trying to prove or something.
Right.
Like that person might really
the
like
agenda.
AI. What's that?
The agenda that they have.
Yeah. And I thought that was awesome, but he was just like so abrasively aggressive.
Yeah, I love that answer. I'm all for adopting,
Yeah.
the bleeding edge technologies, but until they can spit out something other than AI slop and give me like a Criterion grade film cinematic experience, fuck out of here. I don't want to watch that shit.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, even like on the gym side of things, with AI or like ChatGPT or whatever, because it hasn't really at this point affected my day-to-day too much, but I've just noticed little tiny ways where it kind of sneaks its way into like the sort of powerlifting culture or gym culture, or even the way we use it professionally. Like I don't really use it a lot, mostly just because like if you looked at my computer and just went through my programs, you could just see that I just really like to type a lot. Like on my programs, it's a lot more than numbers. I like type out descriptions and all this unnecessary shit that most people think is unnecessary. I like it. But what I'm getting to though is that we've had people, put inquiries in. Hey, I want to learn how to train. I've been running this program off ChatGPT for a year, and it's been helpful, but there's certain holes that I need to figure out because of it. And that's always classically been a problem for people, and part of what we do for business is like solving that problem. Yeah. But it has been interesting seeing people come in training off of ChatGPT. Yeah. And I'm not even saying it's a bad thing necessarily, but it's just been a different challenge. You know, because previously they would come in and say, "Hey, I was working with this coach, or I was learning only off YouTube. Yeah. Not running a program, or I downloaded the 531 PDF." Yeah. And so it's kind of interesting now to see computers writing these programs for people. People are coming in and training in the gym off of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I want to hate it, but I kind of don't. It's just been different. That's really what I've noticed with people. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's still not going to fix your technique. And definitely it's still not going to be relevant enough in the sense where in real time, the computer's going to be like, you know what? I didn't see you hinge enough on that last rep. Whatever. Yeah. So that's been kind of funny to see. So have you noticed any more like changes in hacking or changes in scams or any other kind of stuff work-wise that you guys have had to try to like set up your systems a little bit differently to avoid like those sort of like preset programs accessing things in a way that a human is not accessing things, right? Because like if a human is there like in real time working on that versus a program, have you seen any stark differences? Obviously it's still a person who's setting those threats up. Yeah. But have you noticed a difference between someone who's really like, I guess, manning the machine versus setting up a program to start operating on its own volition? I don't know if you know what I'm actually asking, but it's a weird question. But
No, it sounds like you're asking whether or not we can tell the difference between somebody like hands on a keyboard versus
Yeah.
Maybe something that's the result of like AI.
Yep.
Or it was like generated by AI.
Yep.
I would say it depends on the situation. Like if an email, for example, like that's, you could read it. Maybe you can tell it's AI. There might be some generated content that you get through a phishing email.
Yeah.
But everyday attacks, you can't necessarily trace it back to something like that, like whether or not it's somebody that's sitting at their computer and maybe conducting something like a port scan, or whether or not that's automated.
Yeah.
And whether or not AI is involved at all in their entire workflow and their entire setup. So it really just depends on the situation.
Yeah, you just know that there's a threat. And that something's happening that shouldn't be happening.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there are, of course, lots of documented cases of, like, prompt injection for LLMs that have been documented. So large language models, something like ChatGPT.
I've heard Justin talk about that before. Justin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and God, I try so hard to stick with him when he's explaining it, but
that dude's
tough.
brilliant.
It's tough to understand.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he's actually somebody I'd like to get in touch with because I'd love to pick his brain. He has a very strong development background, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah.
And so that's, like I always tell people, it's all code.
Yeah.
Everything's built on code, and so you have to understand code to be effective in the security space, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening out there with AI.
You were talking about the LLMs.
Oh yeah,
I kind of cut you off a little bit, but I was just curious to see where you were going to go with that.
Yeah, so just something that takes text input and outputs text to a user.
I see.
So that's how the interaction happens.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, like how deep that stuff goes. Because I'll talk to Justin even about just like little things that he's trying to work on to get a bigger thing going.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't remember what it was. It's called type something. It's essentially like a language model he's working with right now.
Oh yeah.
And he was just explaining to me what it's going to do for the bigger picture stuff for him.
Yeah.
And he said he's been working on it for 3 weeks.
Hell yeah, sounds about
just
right.
Just this tiny little like nugget.
Yeah.
It's just like, like it's like the lug nut on the wheel on your car that holds the wheel on. It doesn't actually, it's not the transmission, not the engine. It's not actually doing anything, but he's like, without it, I can't go any further.
Yeah.
And like nothing that I'm going to do is going to work in the future.
Yeah.
And he's talking like, Justin, he's like kind of like you. Like you guys, I'm sure a lot of you guys are similar like this, but you're talking like 15-hour days, like 6 days a week.
Oh yeah.
He's just hunkered down in his apartment.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Justin really goes into an office anymore, but like that guy works like probably like 60 to 80-hour weeks on his computer in his apartment, and no one is like making him do that.
Yeah.
No one's checking in on him. I don't know if he really has like a strict start stop time, but he's putting in massive hours on the computer.
Yeah.
I think it'd actually be cool to maybe let you guys kind of catch up on your own and then eventually do a podcast with you guys together and just kind of get into some weird shit.
Hell yeah, man.
So,
yeah.
Well, this is really rad. I think we should stop because I think they're going to kickbox in like 5 minutes.
Right on.
But thanks for doing that, man.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah.
Super stoked to be here. We'll definitely do this again.
Okay.
And shout out to Blanks for running the cameras. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks for getting here.
Love you, Matt.
And setting everything up, man.
Yeah.